Okay, good morning everybody, or good afternoon for those of you on the East Coast. Today's webinar is Free Windows 7 Curriculum, Basic Computer Training at Your Library or Nonprofit. My name is Kyla Hunt. I will be your facilitator today. I am the new webinar program manager here at TechSoup, and my experience is primarily in libraries and library technology training, so I'm really excited to hear what Todd has to say to us today. And with us today is Todd Watts from MyPC. Todd, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks here today.
Hello everyone. Hi, I'm Todd Watts. I'm a program manager working on the MyPC program, which is a program out of the Windows marketing group. And my background is I spent some time being a web developer, so I have a technical background, and also I spent a number of years in different training organizations in Microsoft. To also come to this with a training background. And I've been on this program for, goodness, it's been almost 2 years, both in developing and helping to promote the adoption of the MyPC series program.
Awesome. And then assisting with us for us with chat today was originally going to be Stephanie Girding, and she has had a prior commitment come up. And so William Coonan from TechSoup is actually going to be answering some of your ReadyTalk or technical questions today. And then also from MyPC, we have Casey Hawkins-Brown. And if you put any of those questions into that chat pane, she will try to get those questions answered to you via chat. And again, I will be pushing any additional questions to Todd at the end of the presentation. And so a little bit about what we're going to be covering today. First, I'm going to go over a little bit about who TechSoup is, and then Todd will talk a little bit about MyPC basics, some stuff about accessible technology training, workshop, curriculum topics, how to use the curriculum, any support materials that will be provided, feedback from libraries and other organizations that have used MyPC, and finally how to sign up. And then again, at the end, we will try to address as many questions as we possibly can. So I, of course, am with TechSoup. TechSoup is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And as of June 2010, TechSoup served more than 127,000 organizations, distributed more than 6.3 million technology donations, and enabled nonprofit recipients to save more than $1.8 billion in IT expenses in 33 countries around the world. TechSoup is part of TechSoup Global, which is working towards the day when every nonprofit, library, and social organization on the planet has the technology, knowledge, and resources they need to operate at their full potential. And I did want to remind you all, because this curriculum that Todd will be talking about today is based on Windows 7, that the Microsoft Software Donation Program for U.S. nonprofits and public libraries is one of TechSoup's most popular resources. And if you wanted to find out more information about this software donation program, you can go to bit.ly/Microsoft Software Donation. I will also include that link in the follow-up email that will go out after this webinar. All right, so with that, let's get started. So Todd, if you could just let us know a little bit about the MyPC Free Windows 7 curriculum and just a little bit about the history of how it was developed.
Yeah, certainly. So thanks Kyla. So first, the MyPC series it's a set of basic PC classroom workshops that have been developed by Microsoft for less tech-savvy adult learners. The curriculum is designed to be hands-on, jargon-free, and it's being offered to organizations like libraries that teach adult computer skills. So the MyPC series program is broken down into 3 different sets of workshops. For the personal enrichment consumer audience, we have our 1-hour and 3-hour workshops. The 10 1-hour workshops are fun and easy classes that cover topics adult learners are interested in, like learning how to edit and share digital pictures, for example. The 4 3-hour workshops are classes that build confidence in using PCs and teach skills that are desired by many adult learners. And lastly, for the business and the home PC user, which includes workforce development programs, we offer our Introduction to Windows 7, which is a 12-hour workshop where PC users become familiar and efficient with their computer's operating system. So a little on the history. The MyPC program came out of the consumer audience team at Microsoft, which is a team that looks at the changing needs of the audience they're focusing on and what that audience wants to see in the world of technology. The team did a lot of research around the baby boomer segments in regard to how they interact with and how they learn technology. The research came from third-party resources as well as Microsoft talking to customers about what they want and how we as Microsoft could really fill those gaps. And this is what influenced the creation of the MyPC program. It's good to note that our program has since evolved beyond the baby boomer demographic and now really is focused on all less tech-savvy adult learners. So the MyPC program began as a pilot of 1-hour instructor-led hands-on workshops based on the research that was done. Microsoft partnered with Holland America Cruise Lines and developed what became known as the digital workshops. The workshops being offered on the Holland America cruise ships was a very big hit, and soon it was expanded to all the ships in the Holland America fleet. The program is still going on today. And over the past 2 years, Holland America and Microsoft have taught well over 500,000 adult students. And just point on the screen, I always love the picture on the right of the overflowing classroom. That was during the Windows 7 launch. It was just tremendously well received.
And really quick, Todd, we have had a couple of comments to ask you to speak up just a little bit. I think you sound fine, but if you could just speak up just a tiny bit or maybe turn the volume up on your phone a little bit more, that would be great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I will do both. I will try and do
awesome.
both.
Fabulous.
Okay. So Microsoft took our experience and momentum from the research and the Holland America partnership, and we branched out to the higher education channel, as well as we developed a partnership with SeniorNet to deliver the MyPC series workshops. The higher education effort began with a pilot in the community college space with 5 community colleges in the Seattle area. From the Seattle area pilot, we launched a nationwide campaign targeting community colleges and continuing education programs for adult learners. And now it leads us to now, which is Microsoft is now making the MyPC series curriculum available to public and private libraries, community and corporate learning centers, and workforce development programs as a channel to offer a less technical, more lifestyle approach to teaching PC topics, geared towards the consumer market and specifically towards the adult learner.
Okay, awesome. So I know that there's a great deal of talk in the library and, of course, the nonprofit community about making technology training accessible to people with all levels of knowledge. And I know at least a lot of libraries are really trying adamantly to provide this kind of training. So how does MyPC work to reflect this need?
Yeah, well, let me share a little bit of what we learned from our research. We found that there's been in the past a real disconnect between what many adults want to learn about computers and what they were generally finding available. In talking with consumers, this list that you see on the screen is common for the types of topics that they were telling us that they wanted to learn about: the email, the photos, connecting with family, staying safe online, even just becoming more proficient with their PC. So, however, when we sat in entry-level computer classes classes to see what the consumer experience was. Here's what we found as common topics at many, at the time it was colleges. The topics being like GUI, memory, WordPad, CPU, and RAM. And the one that always gets me is the taking apart PCs in the class. Not really topics that are very endearing to the adult audience. So we found that most students taking introductory computer classes are aged 45 to 75. They're home users, and they're probably not aspiring IT professionals. So many of these intro classes traditionally teach topics that are too dry for this audience, or have teach with too much jargon. So, and really the training industry as a whole is focused on IT pros and helping train an entire industry of support folks. And in some ways, consumers have somewhat really gotten left behind, as many computer classes were very technically focused. So, and this is something that we feel like that Microsoft has really contributed to, and we have to take some responsibility for. Microsoft is focused on providing training for the IT pro, the developer, and the office workers of the world, but not as much the consumer. So we also recognize that, in saying all that, we recognize that many libraries and other training organizations have started to meet the needs of this audience. So we don't want to paint everybody with the same broad brush here, but rather we're trying to provide content to this program that is designed to address both the audience and the technology for organizations wanting to better serve the adult audience. So what we learned from this research really went into helping to design the MyPC series workshops. We looked at the learning styles for adults and really used that as a guide to help build these workshops. Number one, about forgetting the jargon. You have to speak in the language that they speak in, and provide them with materials that speak in the consumer's voice that's accessible to them. They're really not there to understand the inner workings of the computer. They really are turned off by the geek speak. So we think that key topics can be taught without ever using a lot of techie jargon. Two, it's about building confidence. Adults lacking computer skills are usually wary of making mistakes with technology. We find that they may actually be trained at work to use an application, but when they get home, they tend to be more afraid of doing much on their home computer. So in some cases, especially with the older audience, they didn't grow up with technology, and we know that they learn differently from kids who've grown up with a mouse in their hands. So it takes patience, so one-on-one teaching, and in a really what we call a tell, show, do teaching style. And lastly, it's a lifestyle approach. So lots of course catalogs we found that focused on the office application-based classes, your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. And these are great, but really it's been more of a technology approach. How to use specific applications. Through the MyPC series, we wanted to experiment with benefit-driven classes that focus more on the audience's lifestyle needs and not as much about the technology. Really embracing a fun approach to teaching PC skills, even when teaching job-related skills.
So what topics do the workshop in the curriculum actually cover?
Well, let's see. The MyPC series workshops, as I mentioned before, are really split into 3 different buckets of workshops, the 1 hour, 3 hour, and the introduction to Windows 7. For the 1 hour and 3 hour workshops, those are further broken down into 2 main categories. One, you have basic computer basics rather, from getting started with Windows 7 to staying safe online to even picking the right PC to start with. Secondly is digital photography, classes on digital photo editing to sharing photos to creating digital movies, and then how to share those digital movies. Another way that we like to think about these workshops is or another way to think about them is to look at our roadmap. The roadmap shows where the MyPC series workshops fit in the traditional training space. Our 1 hour and 3 hour workshops fill a need in the personal enrichment area and are fun, unintimidating introduction for students with limited PC skills. Our 12-hour, excuse me, I'm going to take a drink of water here. Our 12-hour Introduction to Windows 7 workshop, the blue segment you see on this slide, is a hands-on, full-length course that has some topical overlap with our MyPC Getting Started course like Snap and Shake and Peek, but it also goes much deeper. Students become familiar with their computers before moving on to more specialized training such as Word, Excel, or other Office-type applications.
Awesome. So what I'm really curious about is how libraries and other organizations are incorporating the MyPC training into their education offerings. So are they using this curriculum as the basis for self-paced education, or are they primarily using the curriculum for really like a group-led training in a lab setting?
Well, the MyPC series workshops are all offered as instructor-led training, or ILT, which means that they require an instructor and a classroom or lab-type space be available to deliver the workshops. And while Microsoft is providing the curriculum and a series of toolkits to help deliver these workshops, the program is designed to fit in your business model. So you get to determine how much to charge, how many classes to offer, which workshops to offer, and so forth. The content is also offered with a license that allows you to customize the content if needed. If you want to combine additional material with the workshop, you can do that. If you want to shorten a workshop, you can do that as well. We do ask that you do not post the customized content online, however. And while the content was designed for the consumer audience, we've had the content be used in the workforce development environment. We've also had feedback from libraries looking to use the content to train not just their patrons, but also their staff members. So the MyPC program offers free curriculum and a turnkey set of toolkits, and really we like to think we've kept it simple. Choose which workshops you want to use, and you can download everything from our website when it's convenient for you and your staff. The best part is that it's all free. No money ever changes hands with Microsoft to use the curriculum, and with a simple mouse click, you receive online access to the curriculum and the toolkits for administrators, instructors, and your IT managers. The MyPC series is designed to fit into your business model. It's your instructors, your labs, your schedule.
Okay, awesome. And I know that I've seen some questions come in that are kind of related to this, so I just wanted to throw out there, are there any software, or is there any software libraries need to download onto their computers or public workstations before using MyPC? And are there any support materials given to organizations when they decide to use the curriculum?
Good questions, and let me take the last one first, and I'll get to the software download here as I go. So we designed the program with 3 different audiences in mind: your instructors or faculty, and administrators, and also then your IT/lab managers. We developed toolkits to help each of these audiences when they were either evaluating or preparing or actually even delivering the workshops. On this slide you'll see is the faculty toolkit or instructor toolkit. So the instructor toolkit includes, as you can see, class-ready PowerPoints. You get course outlines. It comes with print-ready student handouts, and also an instructor guide which even includes a script for your instructor if needed. And for your program administrators, we developed 3 different toolkits. First, an evaluation toolkit, which includes a program overview, the course outlines, the roadmap that you saw earlier, even a philosophy white paper behind the program, support details, sample content. It's everything we think that you need to be able to review the MyPC program to determine if you want to add it to your schedule. After registering with our program, administrators then also get full access to a promotional toolkit, which includes marketing templates, advertising samples, an email blast template, and material that basically what we like to say is to help you put butts in seats. We also include a open house toolkit, and the open house toolkit is a set of slides, an instructor guide, and also some demonstration steps and even videos to help you to promote the workshop so you can hold an open house and promote the workshop to your patrons. For your IT/lab managers, we developed a technical toolkit. Excuse me, I'm going to cough here. Okay, I'm back. So we developed a technical toolkit. Thank you. Nothing like a frog in your throat during a webinar. We developed a technical toolkit to walk them through setting up the classroom or lab environment to host the workshops. Also, for the software for your IT lab managers, as we mentioned earlier, the workshops do require Windows 7 to be installed. And some of the workshops do require the Windows Live Essentials set of applications, which is your email, chat, photo gallery, movie maker applications, which are available online and are also free downloads. The Windows Live Essential applications also are available in versions that work on XP, Vista, and also Windows 7 for your patrons so they can go back and use them, depending on no matter which OS they're running. And all of the MyPC series toolkits are available online as free downloads for yourself or your staff to be able to get access to. Lastly, we also have a student website. This is where students will find workshop handouts, so they can go up and get a soft copy of the handouts for all of the different MyPC series classes. We also provide them a list of different Windows 7 resources that might be of use to them. And also they can see course descriptions to all the different MyPC series workshops that might be available to them. As a good note here, we also have a future feature being worked on for the student website, which is a directory of organizations that are delivering the MyPC series workshops that as an organization you can opt into. The directory will allow potential students that find the website organically through search or possibly through other efforts that we undertake to find an organization in their local area that might be offering the MyPC series workshops.
All right, great. One thing that I'm really curious about is what kind of feedback have you gotten from the program or from people who have actually participated or held this kind of curriculum in their organization? Are there any stories that you have heard about a successful MyPC program?
Well, from the Holland America pilot of the program, the higher education space, and also senior, we've had very positive responses from both the organizations and also from students. On our website, we have actually right now there's a list of quotes from students that have taken the workshops to give you a sense of that. For libraries, the program has been available to libraries for a fairly short period of time. We only opened it up to libraries in late May, early June. So far, the 1-hour workshops have proven to be very popular with libraries, and they continue to be our most popular download. Libraries are telling us, however, that they in general they do have an interest in all 3 sets of workshops. And some of the initial feedback from libraries has been positive. However, many libraries are still evaluating the curriculum or still in the planning phase before being able to roll out the workshops. We should start seeing some of our early library adopters begin offering workshops this fall. And one of the things that we're hearing to date, the biggest obstacle that we're seeing that they're having is getting Windows 7 on their desktops. Many have told us that they're in the process of moving to Windows 7, or they're planning a move to Windows 7, and then they will plan on offering the workshops once the move is complete.
Got it. So we are just blasting through this content, but if you could go over a little bit for us the process. So if a library organization decides that they want to sign up for MyPC to use the free Windows 7 curriculum, how would they go about doing so?
Well, this is the really great part. So, because everything that you need is really available online, we've been able to automate the process here so that you can go up and do really a self-serve process. So if you need more information or if you want access to our evaluation toolkit, you can go to our website, the mypcprogram.com, and from there if you click on the Learn More button, and if you see on the slides the What is My PC series in the upper left, you can click on that and that will take you to the Learn More section, and you can read about a lot about what I've said already, or get access to our, like I said, evaluation toolkit, which has everything that you need to evaluate the program. If you're ready or if you're ready to participate, you can click on the Download Center, and from there that you can sign in with your Windows Live ID, register with the MyPC program site, tell us a little about you, about your what program you're with, and then you accept the online license agreement. Once you register and accept the license, then you can access our Download Center and download all the content and tools that are available. I would like to mention one more thing, and that's we do have a checklist planning document that's available. And if you go to the Contact Us section of the site, as you'll see, because there's a list of resources, support resources, and at the bottom of the page you'll see there's a link to our checklist planning document. That's helpful to use to bring down, and gives you basically an overview of what steps should I take to adopt this program.
All right, so we have plenty of time to go over these questions. But first of all, thank you so much, Todd, for providing us an overview of the free Windows 7 curriculum. If you do have questions after this event, like I said, feel free to post those questions on the forums, and I will include that question in the follow-up email that goes out. And Todd has also given us an email address, which is askmypc@mypcprogram.com. There was a reminder email that was sent out this morning with a PowerPoint attached to it. In that PowerPoint, that email address is slightly different, so just make sure that if you email Todd with a question, you'll want to do it at askmypc@mypcprogram.com. All right, so let's go to the questions, and there have been a lot of them. All right, so first of all, from William, we had a question, will MyPC be expanded to include Microsoft Office?
That's a really good question, and there have been discussions internally of how do we work with Office, because Office has their own set of training, and so as of right now they are separate. A lot of the Office material is online training, and the Windows material is instructor-led. And so is Windows going to do online, and what is Office going to do? So I don't have a coherent question or answer for that at the moment. And Casey, if you're listening, maybe you might have something to say on that as well.
Sure, I can say that as Todd said, Office has a lot of curriculum that they've established already. So it's something that's under consideration for the future.
Okay, great. So is the series available in other languages other than English?
Currently, it's only been published in English. And,
okay, do you know if there are any plans?
Again, there have been discussions about localizing the material, but we don't have any definite plans right now. That is one of the things that we've looked at is how do we work with the community if people want to localize it? How do we, so if somebody localized it, we would take it and make it available to other people. So that's something that we've talked about. But as of right now, Microsoft does not have definite plans on localizing the content. It is becoming, I will say that because initially it was a U.S. based program, we were focused totally on the U.S. Audience, but it is becoming an international program, in that we've opened it up and we're starting to get a lot of interest from overseas, from the international audience. So it's something that I think in the future could become more prevalent for us as that audience grows.
Okay, you can also, sorry, this is Casey Brown.
Oh,
you can also alter the program to download the content and alter the content in a way that suits your needs too, if you are interested in having it in a different language. That's something to consider also.
Awesome.
Right, and that's
really
sort of what I was saying with the community, with somebody being able to take it and they can localize it themselves if they wanted to.
Right, and I know from experience that libraries are really, really great, and other organizations too, at adapting things like this to fit the needs of their community. So I think that's a really great idea. We did have a couple of questions asking, just to reiterate, are these programs free? Which my understanding is, as long as you have Windows 7, that yes, they're free. Correct?
Yeah, the program, and this is great. I mean, it's funny. No matter how many times I emphasize, I always get that. Really? Is it really free? And yes, it is really free. The curriculum itself is free. The toolkits are free. The Windows Live Essential applications that you would use within the workshops are free downloads. And then, of course, it requires the Windows 7, and that's always that's a variable question. I mean, we don't give Windows 7 with this program, but it depends on. Of course, libraries have the through TechSoup you can get copies of Windows 7.
Right, exactly. And I was just going to mention that if you are a library or organization that does not have Windows 7 and you're interested to see if you are eligible for a Microsoft donation, feel free to go to the TechSoup site and fill out the eligibility quiz, which for the most part I believe it will help you figure that out, or you can contact client services to talk to them about it. And I will include that information in the follow-up email that will go out after this session. And this kind of goes along with that same question, which is what infrastructure is required for these training modules. And I think that they're really wondering about if you need a classroom or a lab space or a projector or things like that to do these sessions.
Yeah, so good question. So I think that depends. I mean, I think probably the best setup is, if you have a classroom space with a projector and desktops or notebooks for your students to use. That would be maybe the optimum space. But I don't think that has to be, it doesn't have to be exactly that way. If you don't have a projector, perhaps you can print out the slides and give your students copies of the slides, or there's workarounds that you could do. But as long as the instructor has a computer to be able to demonstrate on, as long as the students have a computer to be able to do the hands-on labs, because the workshops it's not a just sit and listen workshop. They really are. It's focused on hands-on, on being able to do the activities.
Okay. Yeah, and there were a couple other questions that were asking, can the computers used in conjunction with the program be standalone PCs, or will they require an LCD projector, or things like that? And as far as I can tell, as long as you can get that curriculum, up and running on the system that you have, then it should be fine. Correct?
Yes, and within the technical setup toolkit, we have documents that outline the requirements for the workshops.
Okay, awesome. So Kathleen asks, is my PC program, and a lot of these questions I think are pretty specific, but they're definitely worth reiterating. Is my PC program available for older operating systems such as XP? And if of course, if it's not, it's worth asking. Do you know of any other training tools like this for older operating systems?
Well, that's a good question, and the program it was designed around Windows 7, and of course because there's a lot of getting started with Windows 7 workshops, and so in helping people to make that transition from XP to Windows 7. So it is focused really on Windows 7. The Windows Live Essential apps, that the training, because there's a lot of screenshots, it focused on Windows 7 as well. The applications themselves are available on XP, but the screen, because they did the newest version of Windows Live Essentials is not backwards compatible with XP, so there is a difference. So it's not you can't teach it on one and then teach it on the other. So again, just to reiterate, I guess it's Windows 7 focused, and right now I'm not aware of any other workshops that are like this that are on XP myself.
Okay, great. And that's something worth looking into is other free just kind of technology training sites. I know there are some other just general technology training sites out there. For example, I think the Goodwill Community Foundation offers some software instruction, and most of those are really for people taking classes on their computers in their own time, not necessarily in a lab setting. But that's really great to know, and I will try to include a couple links to some additional free programs that are out there as well. One question that came in was, does this curriculum offer any learning assessment tools, and specifically quizzes or assignments or projects that help really assess if the students are learning? And if not, are there any in the works?
Yeah, good question. So, because the workshops were developed to go into the personal enrichment space, so we did not develop assessments for them. The one thing that we've had in this area is especially the 12-hour Introduction to Windows 7 class is one that we've seen that we had in the higher education channel. We had actually some schools wanted to take it and use it in the credit space. And what that meant is they had to develop their own assessment for it. So no, we don't have any assessment modules for it, but it's something that you could do on your own. You would have to do on your own to include that.
Okay, got it. And again, a lot of organizations, a lot of libraries, I think, are really creative in making assessment tools like this. So as long as they have the infrastructure of the course itself, I think that will be really helpful in creating those kinds of assessment tools. We have a question from Bob saying that he's almost completed his Microsoft Certified Trainer certification, his MCT certification. And so will that offer additional benefits to this program similar to the Microsoft IT Academy?
Well, the MCT program is great. This is actually, we're looking at including this program as part of IT Academy. It's something that we've been talking to them about. But there's not, being an MCT doesn't it's not like we have something in the closet we're waiting to pull out for MCTs. No, MCTs are certainly welcome to sign up and register for the program, but what we have is what we make available is to everybody.
Got it. And Sindra asks, many libraries training PCs, so their workstations where they conduct training, are locked down pretty tight to avoid saving to servers or hard drives. And I know I've had that experience conducting trainings in labs as well. Do you think that this could be a problem in conducting these trainings?
Yeah, that's always a challenge. And we've seen, especially in the community college space, because they're having to run multiple classes, and so there's we talked to them about different ways of doing a set on the desktops for these classes, and then afterwards, and they have to reset it to another one. So it's I think the students do need access to the hard drives to be able to do these workshops, because especially if they're doing the photo editing, they're having to go in and utilize sample files and edit them and save them and do various things. So it's something that they will need access to, and it's a hard question to answer specifically, because there's so many variables that can go into that. But yes, they will need access to the hard drive to do some of the workshops. Some of them they won't, but some of the basic PC ones of getting started with Windows 7. But some of the digital photo editing ones, yeah, they do need access.
Got it. And Susan asked, and I was really curious about this. She says that she doesn't understand the Windows Live ID. She had it at one time, but I guess never really used it. Could you just give us just a verbal kind of explanation of how to get a Windows Live ID, and if there's any kind of fees attached to that or anything like that?
Yeah, Windows Live ID it's a free offering by Microsoft, and it's used to give you, so basically you have the same credentials across multiple websites, and a lot of those are, of course, Microsoft websites, so you can log in with the same password. And Windows Live ID doesn't require a Microsoft email account or anything. You can use any email account and associate it and make it a Windows Live ID. And so when you go in to do the sign up, if you don't have a Windows Live ID, when you go to hit sign in, you actually get a screen that gives you the ability to sign in with an active Live ID, or if you don't have one on the left, it has steps of how you can create one, create a Live ID. If you have one but you don't remember it, you might be able to do I don't remember, tell me my password, or you can just create a new one.
Got it. And Eric also wanted to know that he didn't see the download center from My PC series. Could you explain a little bit more about how to get to the download center?
Sure. So, in fact, let me bump the slide back. So, let me use the tools here. So, you can get to the download center by going here. you look on the screen, I'm marking it, or by clicking there. Either one of those links will take you to the Download Center. Before you can get to the Download Center, before you can get access to it, at first you will get a sign-in page, which will ask you to sign in with a Windows Live ID. And then if it's your first time through, you have to then register, fill out the registration form, and then accept the license terms. And then from there, you will be passed into the Download Center, and from there you can view all the different content. It's split up by audience. So there's a tab for instructors, a tab for administrators, and a tab for your IT lab managers.
Great. So Penny wanted to know, what would you recommend to be a reasonable size class for this program? Would you think that it would be about 10 people or 20 people or 50 people?
That's often we always had that question asked to us by the community colleges, and it's something we also ask them a lot of how many people are you offering. And so we had a lot of varied answers, but it generally went from as low as 4 people to I saw even as high as like 25 people. But on average, I would say it's usually 8 to 10 people per workshop is a good size, and especially because part of it, if you remember, some of the principles that we're using behind this was being able to give them confidence, and part of that is the instructor is an important piece of the puzzle, and that means that the instructor is able to give one-on-one time to the students, and so you have to keep the class sizes down to really facilitate that.
Got it. That makes sense. So going back to the actual classes, is the 12-hour class something that's done all at one time, or you can just split it up how you want to, like in 4-hour segments or 3-hour segments, things like that?
Yeah, good question. So it actually is it's split up in 4 3-hour modules, and they are independent. So you can run 2 of the modules, or you can run 4, all of them, and you can run them all at once. You can run them over a period of time. It's up to you, however it fits within your business model. The one thing that I'll add, that was a good story we had, was a community college in Hawaii that because in Hawaii it was very focused on the social aspect, and so they wanted to run the 3-hour class, and they wanted to make it like an 8-hour class. And they were the only ones that we heard that from, but yeah, if that's what you want to do, by all means. So it's up to you.
Okay, great. And William wanted to know, are all presenters permitted to have a copy of the class materials on their own computers?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, definitely. In fact, what we recommend is that it always starts with the administrators, whoever is going to evaluate the program, that they go up and they register on the site and download the materials that they need. And then when they're ready, it's to have an instructor begin preparing is not to download material and send that to the instructor, but send the instructor to the site. They can register. Then they can go and download the materials that they need onto their laptops or their computer and do the preparation. And then the same when you're getting ready to deploy. Again, send your IT person to the website. They can register. There's a space for them. They can go in, get the setup guides, get the technical toolkit, and download that and set up the computers. So it's everybody. They can go to the website and register, and they can get what they need.
Okay, great. Do you know what a good website would be as a starting point to find out what Microsoft is offering to nonprofits?
That's a good question. Casey, do you have an answer for that? I don't.
What was the question? I was answering another person. I'm
Sure.
sorry.
That's fine. Do you know of a website that would be a good starting point to find out what Microsoft is offering to nonprofits?
Ooh, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm sure that I can ask some people around the office here and get the question answered.
Right, and I think I have a link to, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's about Microsoft's offerings to nonprofits. So if I can find that link, I will include that in the follow-up email that goes out. All right, so Kathy wanted to know, what are some sample topics within the Starting with Windows 7 module?
Sample topics within which one?
The Starting with Windows 7 module.
Let me drill in here and get the course outline.
So if you want, you can just look that up, and I can send it along with the follow-up email if you don't have that off the top of your head.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll send, because we have the course outlines are all available. I'll send you the link to the course outlines that they can so they can download it.
Awesome, fabulous. Okay, so Penny wanted to know, just to reiterate, how basic is the program? Do the patrons need to come with skills such as being familiar with the mouse and being able to double-click, things like that? Or is it really a little bit more advanced than that?
Yeah, great question, and that's that's one of the reasons why I included the roadmap. I'm going to pull that up here real quick. The roadmap to kind of give you an idea. So, because we think that there is before these classes, there is really that real basic introduction to computers, which is the keyboarding, mouse skills. Now, you can either offer that class, or if you're just aware that, hey, we have students that aren't familiar with this, and incorporate that into what you're doing. I actually sat in one of the classes I sat in. I had a gentleman that he was didn't know how to use copy and paste and select, and it was just he didn't need another class. He just needed the instructor to take the time to show him quickly, hey, yes, here's how you do that, and then he was able to move on. So they are basic classes, but there is some skill that they should either get while they're there or should come in with, and that's the keyboarding and mouse skills.
Okay, great. And I have a question asking, does your organization have to be a 501c3 to get the access to the program? And my understanding is pretty much any organization can really get access to the program. Is that right?
Correct. We've opened the floodgates and made it available to any organization. Before we did have it limited to higher education and a few other organizations, but that was with the release in the end of May. We modified our license agreement, and we allow anybody to come in and register and get the content.
Okay, great. I think we have time for just a couple of more questions.
There's a question that, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
There's a question that I've answered a couple times that I think would be helpful to answer.
Sure.
And it's sort of a question on how the content comes packaged, if the content is online or if it's sort of standalone. And the answer to it is that you have to go on My PC program to download the content. However, the classes themselves are in PowerPoint, Microsoft Office PowerPoint, and the instructor guides are in, I think, document form or PDF form, and some of the other things there are also in document or PDF form. So you don't have to, the classes themselves are not online. However, you do need internet connection for some of the things to teach. So if that clarifies, hopefully it does for everybody.
No, that's incredibly helpful. Thank you, Casey.
And one thing to add to that is when they download, some of the files we have they can download individually, but a lot of them we have zipped up. So you're downloading a zip file, which you then have to expand out, which would have all the files available within it.
Okay, great. And one last question. William wanted to know if a student brings his own laptop, could they then load the MyPC materials on it? Do you think that's a feasible model for people to bring in their own machines and then to download the MyPC curriculum onto that and teach them on their own machines?
It certainly is a possibility. It's a matter of it's how much time. If you're going to deliver the class, you're going to have to make sure that you have a time set up for installing on their computers, because normally in the classroom you're doing that pre-work beforehand. You have an IT person installing the workshops. So if you're going to make that part of the class, you just have to account for it in the time that you allot to cover the material.
Okay, great. And I think that's all the questions that we really have time for during this hour. So first of all, I really want to thank you, Todd and Casey, for both being on today. This has been really, really helpful, and I hope that the audience has found this really helpful as well. If you have any additional questions, again, you can email MyPC at askmypc@mypcprogram.com. And you can also find them on the web at www.mypcprogram.com. We will also have a forum thread available, and that will go out in the follow-up email that will be going out after this session. I also want to thank our webinar sponsor, ReadyTalk. ReadyTalk does offer dedicated product demos for TechSoup organizations 4 times per week, so check out that URL if you want to find out more information about that. And again, thank you. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, William, for handling chat questions. And thank you to everybody who attended today. Please take a little bit of time to complete the post-event survey. It does help us in developing further content. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Please stand by.